Welcome back to Tomorrow on Track. I'm Rakesh Mani, and today we're talking about the world of cinema and what it tells us about the economy, culture, and the consumer landscape that we find ourselves in Malaysia and in the region. Does cinema have a role to play in creating compelling experiences for today's audience? How's it going to evolve? We'll find out. So, joining us today is my friend, Koh Mei Lee, Chief Executive Officer of Golden Screen Cinemas. Mei Lee, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming by, and
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here.
your first time here
Yes,
in,
it
in, in
is.
our
I
in our
love your
offices.
studio. It's really cozy. Love the lighting.
Sets,
And
sets,
of course, being able to talk to you about
Thank you, Mei Lee.
GSC.
Thank you so much. And it kind of cozy spot sets the tone for the weekend, right?
Yeah.
Maybe, Mei Lee, why don't you start us off by telling us your first memory of going to the cinemas? It's something that cuts deep with people. It's a big part of our childhoods and our experiences, sometimes even going with your parents or your friends to the movies for the first
Yeah.
time. What's your first memory of the movies?
It's actually very nostalgic. And it will tell my age once I tell you the movie, right? It is The Sound of Music.
Okay, classic.
Yeah, it's a real classic. I was brought there by my parents, and coincidentally, they are celebrating the 60th anniversary. So
Oh,
we are actually playing it today, just for 3 days only, Friday to
special
Sunday.
screening.
It's special screening. So best part is I'm going to surprise my parents. I'm going to take them there. My son is back from London, so I got him to tag along. So the
Oh,
best part is, movies. It's a multi-generational
yeah,
enjoyment,
yeah.
right?
There's something in it for everyone, isn't there?
That's right.
Yeah. And but I guess for your son, it would be an interesting movie to watch, The Sound of Music, but he probably won't have the same nostalgic recollection of it as growing up, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's also the movie would be very different, like what the
Yeah,
expectations or the kind of movies
yeah.
that he's used to would be. So I'm not sure if how he'll find The Sound of Music, but I'll let you know.
Okay.
But it will be something that my parents would enjoy. I'm sure it'll bring back
Yeah,
very sweet memories for
yeah.
them.
Absolutely, I hope so. If I'm not mistaken, I think Titanic may be one of the first movies that I remember going to. It's not the first I've ever been to, but the first I remember going to in the cinema.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. So now I know your first movie and you know my first movie, and I can tell your age. That's the thing about movies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the cinema business has gone through, I think it's fair to say, has gone through lots of ups and downs over the years, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's been streaming that has come in a very big way. It's changed the course of how we consume content. The relationship between streaming services, whether it's Netflix or Amazon and cinemas, has also evolved into a bit more of a partnership. But I think it's fair to say that most consumers, myself included, we enjoy both. And
Mm-hmm.
there's times when you stream, there's times where you want to go into a cinema for the experience. How do you see it with the younger generation in Malaysia? What's their interaction with the cinema, and
Mm-hmm.
how do you expect that to evolve in the country?
Yeah, I think what you said is definitely true. With the younger generation, they
Yeah,
are consuming a lot of content,
yeah,
and they consume it both, with streaming as well as going to the cinemas,
yeah,
because they both have very different, they serve very different, but to me, actually very complementary purposes.
mm,
Streaming is, of course, convenient, but going to the cinemas, for me, it's really magical. It's a unique experience that, bonding with your friends and family, communal experience that
yeah.
you can't replicate it at home, all right? And
Because it's
today,
not just the content alone; it's all the things around it.
yes, like they say, you laugh more, you laugh louder, you cry
Mm,
harder, you cheer more when you are doing it, in a hall
yeah,
with 200, 300 people,
yeah,
people that you know and strangers as well. I think that today's younger generation they actually pick and choose the movies that they want to watch, right? And when they pick a movie, they will want that first experience to be on the big screen. And then because it adds prestige and premium to the movie, and then when it comes out on the platform again, that's when they re-engage with the movie. Yeah, and I think technology has played a big part in providing really immersive experiences to the younger generation. I'm not sure whether you've been to the cinema lately. I'm sure you have.
Yes.
But there's so many different types of hall file formats, you know. We have, of course, the, you know, IMAX, 4DX, which is your motion chairs, and then you have a ScreenX, which many people they're not aware of, where you have a 270-degree screen. Dolby Atmos, you know, family halls, theme parks. So
One's
very, very
for
different.
kids as well, with
Yeah,
the
for
play
kids,
areas.
yeah. And you know, we used to lose a generation of audiences because when you're a young parent and you have kids, you won't be going to the cinemas because you feel awkward when your kids are running around and making a lot of noise. So we wanted to target that market, and what happened was that we started this play hall.
Yeah.
And it's been really, really popular. Yeah, that's how movie has evolved. You know, people expectations. It's gone from like just a standalone cinema, to a single destination pastime to now really a very immersive total entertainment lifestyle experience, right? And people are looking for, on top of just the movie, they want luxurious seating, they want great diversity in terms of the concession items that they can order, restaurants, bar, even like karaoke services. It's that's where we are focused on now, really providing like a really vibrant lifestyle space. It's a place that you can chill, you know, get away, a little escape from the hustle and bustle of every day.
Totally, because I also feel that when you watch a movie, say on a Friday night on Netflix, you get a phone call in the middle, you've got to take care of something else, you stand up, you pause, and yeah, it's convenient, but it's not as immersive, right? When you actually go to the movies, you can get away from it all, you can enjoy what's on the screen, you're less likely to answer a phone call, you have dinner before and after. So it's tapping into different occasions beyond just I want to go to the cinema and watch a movie. It's tapping into various other sets of things, right? I want to go out with a group of friends and have an evening out. Here's another opportunity, or host an event.
Right. That's right.
But consumers are quite interesting to observe, especially when you zoom out and map their preferences to what's happening in the broader economic and cultural landscape. What are some of the interesting trends or preferences that you've observed in the content preferences of Malaysians? I mean, one is around one of the big topics that we keep hearing about is inflation and the impact of inflation and people trading down their purchases a little bit, right? That's one. The other is what kind of content is interesting from a movie's perspective also seems to change and evolve over time, right? Whether it's love stories or you know, dramas or biographies. What have you observed in terms of content and stories and the consumer preference landscape?
That's actually a very interesting questions and interesting question, and you're coming from many different angles. So I'll tackle the first one first.
Okay.
You asked like how has it changed? I think the consumer preference for movies has really changed post-pandemic. You know, you'll be surprised to hear that since 2022, the top movie performers are not your Hollywood blockbusters. They're all local movies.
Interesting.
From 22, 23, 24, even this year.
In Malaysia.
In Malaysia. So you have Mat Kilau, we have Sheriff, and this year we have Blood Brothers. They're all crossing like the 80 million mark. And that's because really the quality of storytelling, the production quality has improved significantly over the years, and the audiences are able to resonate better with these movies because they can relate to the language, the culture, right? So that's one part that we are seeing, and unfortunately for the Hollywood, right? I think there are just too many. There's fatigue for like too many franchise movies because you're doing like sequels, prequels, remakes, and today's audience, they're always looking for something that's fresh and something new. And
Interesting.
they, these kind of movies don't attract them anymore. So we're looking at very difficult for Hollywood movies to cross the 20 million mark even.
Interesting.
Yeah. And we notice that now audiences, they want movies that touches their their heart, that movies that traditionally didn't do well, like dramas. They want action. They still want action, but used to be dramas we don't collect as much, it's
Okay.
like, but we have this movie called How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies.
Yes, I've watched that.
You've seen that?
Yeah, I did.
And it was so well received, not only in Malaysia but regionally, like the top Thai movie for many
Yeah.
territories.
Yeah.
Right? And then we had a movie out of Hong
Which was
Kong.
just on that interesting also because it transcended language barriers.
That's right. So I think that period, right after the pandemic, we had the actors writers strike. So we managed to fill the gap that was left, when we didn't have Hollywood content with local movies as well as regional content, like the Grandma movie and like Last Dance from Hong Kong. We are able to take many different types of movies from different territories.
And do you think a lot of that, the renaissance of local content, it sounds like it's a combination of things, right, that you're describing? The quality of the content being produced locally has drastically improved. Things like the strike have helped people,
Yes.
find the reasons and the inner creativity to bring that out. But do you think it's also local audiences maybe looking a bit more inwardly with the nature of the economy today? That stories from within, stories about a tough economic period and things like that tend to resonate a bit more?
Actually, I think it's more of stories that audiences can, compelling stories and characters that audiences can connect with. Yeah. Not so much about maybe economic situation. It's just movies that touches their heart, that people want to watch. Fresh movies, right? We had Oppenheimer, we had Barbie, we had that whole period where people were going to the cinemas watching very new content.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in fact, during difficult times, we noticed that people actually go back to the cinemas more often because they do want a form of escapism.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can totally see that.
Yeah.
Speaking of escapism and Barbie, by the way, I felt that, it was quite interesting when Barbie came out. There were so many people who would go to the cinemas, and it wasn't just about watching the movie. It was about taking a picture with the family and posting it online. And then we went, and there's this whole communication around the experience of going to the cinema. I bought my first pair of hot pink pants to go watch Barbie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I put it on and took pictures in it. Seriously. I should have worn it to this. But that's a very positive thing with the local content, right? It bodes well for the ecosystem overall in the region. I think it has a potential to draw in local audiences in a much bigger way. What's your take on the investments being made to fund and support the local filmmaking ecosystem, whether it's production, whether it's the talent pipeline? How important is all of that?
It's very important, actually. I think it's important for cinemas to be able to support the local industry and provide platforms for local talent to showcase their movies.
Yeah.
And in fact, if I look at the multi territories that we have, we want to go into different regions and produce movies that's actually can travel from not only in Malaysia but also regionally.
Mm.
And if you look at countries like Vietnam,
Mm.
like Indonesia,
Mm.
like China, they are able to recover a lot faster than the other countries that rely on just Hollywood content. You know, Vietnam, 75%, 80% of their box office comes from local movies, you know, and
So you're
regional
saying
titles. So
it's important to get into the game of finding and funding local content.
yes, I think it's also, you know, after the pandemic, we had an actors writers strike, which
Yeah.
I mentioned,
Yeah.
that where we didn't have Hollywood content,
Yeah.
and that actually made us realize that we can't be dependent on Hollywood content. We really need to be in the driver's seat of being able to fill our screens with local content, with regional content. And it's Malaysia is very unique because we are able, I mean, we appreciate movies from
Across the region.
across the region.
Multilingual.
That's right.
And you see yourselves moving more into sort of
Yeah, we have gone more into, like, before that we were, you know, co-producing movies maybe one or two over 2-3 years.
yeah.
But this year alone, I think now moving forward, we're looking at between 5 to 8 movies. This year alone, we have released our co-production movies, 7 titles so far.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we're looking to work with different directors, different actors, different producers from the region,
Yeah.
like I mentioned, so that the movies can travel.
Yeah.
And it's also to tap into all the creative juices from the different territories.
And how important is it, do you think, in Malaysia? I mean, I read this thing once, and it's always kind of stuck with me. And it was something along the lines of, you know, the movies coming out tell you more about the state of a society and the mindset of a generation. The kind of stories that come out, the emotions that come around with it. And, you know, that's why I suppose you always hear these things, that it's really important to see people that look like us on screen and see them be represented. In telling a lot of these local stories, how does cinema play a role in helping shape what it means to be a young Malaysian today in this environment within Asia? Is there a role that cinema can play in bringing out those stories in a more powerful way?
Yeah, definitely. You know, like cinemas. I think we go to the cinemas to watch movies, to get inspired,
Yeah.
you know, to learn about sometimes you learn about yourself from watching movies.
Yeah.
You learn about other cultures too from
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
So it has a role to play. It's like they always say, it's like, do movies depict life,
Yeah.
or life depict movies?
Yeah.
You know, it is both, I would say.
Yeah.
It would be both.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's
Totally.
important. It
Yeah.
is important for us to kind of like showcase what's relevant.
Yeah.
Even if you talk about family, a lot of the movies nowadays have family as their theme, right? And inculcating that filial piety, you know, how important family is for support, and, you know, because sometimes that might get lost as we are, you know, becoming so busy.
Yes.
Right? So a lot of these movies, I think it's really important.
And the kind of movies that you watch growing up, at least in my case, it plays a big part in the frame of reference through which you see the world. And we all remember certain iconic scenes and dialogues from movies, right? And you carry that with you in some way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, on the other hand, as you know very well, we publish this report called the PwC's Global Entertainment and Media Outlook. And I bring this to you every year and we have a chat about it. The latest report says that cinema admissions rates are expected to kind of level off, not necessarily grow or decline. What are the opportunities that you see beyond all the things that you've talked about in making the cinema experience more appealing to moviegoers? So, first of all, is that kind of true that you see admissions rates leveling off?
I think it depends on the territory, right? Admissions for us, we are still catching up to 2019, but I'm quite optimistic that by 26, 27, we should be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the opportunities for me when I see for Malaysia and some of the other territories would be that we are able to we can provide like strong, consistent stories, that people want to watch and resonate with the audience. It's more important now, how do you market? When you talk about admissions, a lot of people, they don't go to the cinemas anymore. How do you market this through very innovative, creative media tools, to make sure that we share the stories, we share about these movies that's coming out on the cinemas. And one of them is like Grandma. I'll come back to Grandma again. Like we did a very viral video where it's reaction video where you see the audience like crying, men included, and like their shirts are soaked with tears, right? And that really helped drive admissions to the cinemas because people wanted to also experience that
kind of raw emotion.
That kind of raw emotion. And it was like, it went viral, 50 million views. And of course, we collected a couple of awards for that viral marketing. The other thing is eventizing movies.
What does that mean?
Meaning it's like every movie, we don't just release the movie. We have to make it into an event, right? Like maybe I tap onto what you've just said about Barbie wearing pink pants. Right? When Barbie and Oppenheimer, when they were released at the same time, you won't expect the same audience going for these two movies, right? But there was a movement where they said like, okay, we'll dress up in black and white for Oppenheimer. We'll dressed up in pink, right? And then they go to the movies, like you. They take photographs. They make it an event, and they spread the word and show that. That's like one kind of event. Maybe I'll share with you some of the successful events that we've had.
Yeah, please.
Recently we had Conjuring. And it's a scare movie, right? And we eventize it through a theme. The braver you are, the more rewards you will get. So we had a screening at 12 o'clock midnight. We had a screening at 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock where the whole cinema is dark and it's just lit with candles, right, into the hall.
How cool.
And, the 2 o'clock screening was totally taken up.
Did you play some eerie music?
Of course.
Yeah,
it has to be the whole experience, right?
Mm.
And then we had another movie called Weapons. And this movie is about a classroom of children who just got up from their homes at 2:17 in the morning and disappeared. So we eventized that by doing a premiere at 2:17 a.m. Right? And it was a full house as well. And we had people coming in the pajamas, in the pillows and blankets. And we just released this Harry Potter marathon, 8 movies back to back, to great response. So the difference is like, you might not want to watch all 8 movies. right? So you're able to go into the cinema, you watch three back to back, and then you can pass the baton to your friend or your family member,
Like a
and they
relay
can
race.
continue.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's kind of
So
cool.
that's
Yeah.
that's been very well received. So we have to
Eventizing the
kind of
movies.
eventizing movies. Yeah.
Okay. Mei Lee, thank you for your time and insights. Thank you for taking the time to come by to our offices and having this chat. It's always a fun time chatting with you. I've been speaking with Koh Mei Lee, CEO of Golden Screen Cinemas in Malaysia. I'm Rakesh Mani, and this is our latest episode of Tomorrow on Track.